Welcome to Gaussian Mixture Models. This video is on Gaussian Mixture Models for clustering. Let us first try and understand why we need another clustering method. There are a few limitations in k-means and hierarchical clustering methods. The first of which is that an instance of a data can only belong to one cluster. In the example given below, we have a set of data points that are pure blue clusters, as shown by the arrow. Some are pure green clusters, and some are a mix of blue and green. With methods like k-mean hierarchical clustering, the points in the middle would get classified either as blue or green depending on the distance measure chosen. The second important limitation is that overlapping clusters are not possible. Shown in the right side diagram, some of the data points are overlapping between two clusters, which is again not possible with k-means or hierarchical clustering. Third limitation is neither of them are probabilistic models. So we don't understand the probability that a data point is associated with a particular cluster. Lastly, with k-means specifically, it prefers equal-sized and equal variance clusters because of the underlying mathematical assumptions. Okay. Now let's turn our attention to look at mixture models in general and how they can help. First, rich probability distributions can be represented as a combination of component distributions. Shown here is a diagram where there's a green distribution which is being approximated with a combination of blue and orange distributions. Mathematically, it can be shown that P of x, which is the green distribution in our example, is equal to a sum of weighted component distributions, where the pi is the mixture weight and f of x is the specific component distribution. Now let's look at specific type of mixture models called Gaussian mixture models, and we'll take an example to go over that. As the name suggests, the component distributions are all Gaussian distributions. And say we have been given a data and we also have a tool that helps us approximate this data with two Gaussian distributions, red and blue. And for this given data, our estimations are, for a red distribution, we estimate the mean, standard deviation, and also the mixing weight. Both for red and blue distributions, we have done the estimations. So we have two components, which is red and blue. We have the mixing weight, which is the 36% weight for red distribution and 64% weight for blue distribution. And we have also found the mean and standard deviation for both red and blue distribution. Now the tool that does this approximation is what we are actually going to be studying today using Gaussian mixture models. Now let's write down the same in mathematical formulation and formalize some of our learnings. So P of x is the data that is given to us, and we are approximating it with weight of sum of two normal distributions or two Gaussian distributions with their own mean mu0 and mu1 respectively. And they both have two different variances, sigma 0 and sigma 1 respectively. The pi is the weight of the associated distribution, and it is worth noting that we are using covariance matrix here for the variance since we are in a multidimensional space. Standard deviation is applicable in two-dimensional space. Now if we generalize this particular equation, we can write it as a sum of k Gaussian distributions with pi of k referring to the weight given to that specific component Gaussian distribution. Okay. Further, when we apply logs and we generalize this as a sum over n data points, then we can derive this formulation that is also called the likelihood of data. That is, this formulation is measuring how well the sum of our normal distributions are fitting the data. The larger it is, the better. Now that we understand the likelihood of the data, let's ask the question, how do we estimate these parameters? We're going to look into that parameter estimation separately for both cases where there is labeled data is given to us. This is to get an intuition on the process. And number 2, where the data is not labeled, which is applicable in our case of clustering. So first, let's assume the labels are known. We are assuming the data is generated from k Gaussian probability distributions, and our likelihood definition is the same as we defined earlier. Let us estimate the parameters for this. So there are 3 parameters: pi, mu, and sigma. A pi of k is nothing but a fraction of examples with label k, which can be written as 1 by n into count of data points with label k. Mu of k is the mean of all data points with label k, which can be written as the sum over data points with label k by the count of data points with label k. The variance of k is the variance of all data points with label k, and that is shown through a standard variance formulation for the data points with label k. Next, how to estimate parameters when we are given data without labels. First, let's go over the overview of the algorithm we shall use. So first, we continue our assumption that the data is generated from k Gaussian probability distributions. We shall treat the labels or the cluster IDs as hidden variables or latent variables. Okay. The goal of the algorithm is to find the parameters, and we will derive gamma, a particular matrix, which will be very helpful for us to derive parameters. And the algorithm we're going to be using is called the expectation maximization, or in short, the EM algorithm. What it focuses on is to maximize the likelihood function of the unlabeled data. The output of our algorithm are going to be 2 things. One is the distribution parameters, mu, sigma, and pi, and the soft assignment of data points to clusters. Okay. So when we look at an example later on, we'll understand what the soft assignment is. But for now, these are the 2 outputs we are going to be expecting from our algorithm. Next, let's now derive an important formulation called gamma using Bayesian statistics. First, let's assume the component weights, which is the pi, as a prior probability for the components. Using Bayes' rule, we'll evaluate the posterior probabilities, also called as the gamma. We are interested in finding k given x, and using Bayesian formulation, it can be formulated as p of k given x is equal to p of k times p of x given k by p of x. Let's look at each of these terms in detail. P of k is nothing but the fraction of data points that are labeled with k. P of x given k is the Gaussian distribution with mu k and sigma k parameters. P of x is something we have already defined and is the weighted sum of all Gaussian distributions within our component space. One side note to provide you better intuition is that the output of this equation is effectively a vector of k labels indicating the probability that a data point belongs to that cluster. So below is an example, a sample I've shown you for 3 clusters, C1, C2, C3, for 9 data points. A sample data point x1 has a probability of 60% being in cluster 1, C1, 20% of being in cluster C2, and 20% of being in cluster C3. A sample data point x2 has a probability of 50% in cluster 1, 20% in cluster 2, and 30% in cluster 3, etc., etc. Now that gamma is formulated, we'll go through the steps of expectation maximization algorithm so that we can compute the parameters that best fit our data. The first step is we initialize the parameters, pi, mu, and sigma. Pi is the weight of our component, the mean of the distribution is referred by mu, and the sigma is the variance of the component distribution. The initialization is typically a random value to these parameters, and please note these are not scalar but a vector of values of k dimension. The second step is we evaluate the log likelihood. So earlier we derived the log likelihood. We compute the log likelihood now using the parameter values we just initialized. Obviously, the log likelihood value is far from being optimal since our parameters are just random values. Step 3 is we begin a loop and we evaluate the gamma using the current parameters. This is the same gamma equation that we saw earlier, and that will give us a vector of k dimensions for each data point, indicating the probability that a data point belongs to that cluster. Okay. Next is step 4, is that we estimate the parameters using the gamma, but the parameters we're estimating are mu, which is the mean of data points with label j, weighted by the probability of the data point belonging to a cluster. The sigma of j is the variance of data points with label j, weighted by the probability that a data point belongs to a cluster. And pi of j is the count of data points with the label j. The next step is that we again evaluate log likelihood using the parameters estimation we have made in step 4. This log likelihood would get maximized over a loop. Since this is the first iteration, it is not necessarily expected to be an optimal value. And the last step is we check for the convergence of this log likelihood value. If it has got converged, we exit the loop. If it is not, we go to step 3 and we iteratively compute the updated gamma, new parameters, and new log likelihood continuously till a convergence point is met. Okay, so those are the 6 key steps for EM algorithm. Now let's look at an example. So let's say we have been given data, which is shown in the left side. When we run GMM on them, the output is shown on the right side. In this case, for both examples, we had only 3 clusters. And it's worth noting that the overlapping clusters were possible, and the data points belong to different clusters with different probability associated to them. One limitation with GMM that is worth noting is that it finds clusters that are elliptical, particularly Gaussian elliptical in nature, like the one shown in the first instance of the example. In the next video, we shall look at density-based clustering, which addresses some of the limitations of GMM and also provides a nonlinear perspective to clustering. So that's all for this video. Till next video, good luck to you.